seen people come in and just say, I want this, 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 and this.
The thing that surprised me about the Voyager was the quality of its ride. As well as being comfortable and far from truck-like, the van displayed very little susceptibility to side winds.
Motoring 91 is brought to you by Quaker State. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Hello everybody and welcome to Motoring 91. Now we have a busy half-hour planned for you this week, and among other things we're going to join Jim Kenzie in Europe for some home movies. Stick around because you won't want to miss them. But first we're at a place called the Auto Studio in Markham, Ontario. Now the other day somebody told me that they do anything to a car here. So we're here to find out what anything really means.
We are unique in the sense that we not only sell existing products, but we have the ability to customize and produce our own products. Also that we combine so many disciplines under one roof that all you have to give us a concept on what you want, and we can basically put your concept into a rolling vehicle. We sell accessories from little keychains right up to doing mechanical maintenance. We have a full body and collision shop. We have our own machine shop. Even things like being able to remotely control all the functions in the car via the telephone. To give you an idea of what we do to customize the vehicle, this is a Mercedes-Benz top-of-the-line 560 SEC. It's a fine automobile the way it comes from the factory. It's worth about $110,000. Here is an example of what we can do to the car. This, believe it or not, is exactly the same car, except we have put a few additional additions to it, such as a complete body kit, a whole new paint job, suspension, rims and tires, complete remote control alarm system, plus, in addition to that, a whole new power plant. We have added to the 220 horsepower engine a supercharger system that brings the horsepower up to 380 horsepower. This particular vehicle is about $40,000 to $45,000 total.
The Auto Studio is also equipped with the chassis dynamometer, a $250,000 troubleshooter.
What it allows us to do is to not only tell you how the entire car is running, from engine, transmission, everything else, but it allows us to diagnose very specific problems at various speeds. You probably ran into problems before that the engine doesn't run properly, let's say at 60 miles an hour. It will be pretty difficult to have a mechanic climb on top of the hood, drive down the highway and try to diagnose a problem at the same time. This way, we could actually get the car to the proper running speed and then put all the various diagnostic tools on it, and all these things are being fed into the computer for later analysis. That way, we know exactly what is wrong with your automobile.
Are you still amazed sometimes how much money people will put into already expensive car?
When I first started 6 years ago, I was amazed, but I'm not amazed anymore. I've seen people come in and just say, I want this, 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 and this. How much is it? Well, thank you very much. This is a check. When can I have it? I mean, the most important part is, when can I have it? How soon? That's basically it.
If you have a growing family and the need for a minivan, stay tuned because we look at one of the very best on Test Drive.
Test Drive with Graham Fletcher.
This week on Test Drive, we look at the totally restyled 1991 Plymouth Voyager. Now, since its introduction, this car has had more than its fair share of imitators. What we're going to try and find out is it still the leader of the pack.
For many years, the biggest knock against the Magic wagons was the lack of a V6 engine. In the 91 version, you get a choice of two. Our vehicle was equipped with Chrysler's own 3.3-litre V6 fuel-injected engine, matched with a 4-speed automatic overdrive transmission. The engine produces a healthy 150 horsepower and 180 pounds-feet of torque, more than enough even when fully loaded. Chrysler's new 4-speed tranny makes sure that every ounce of power produced is put to good use. Under normal driving conditions, the shifts are smooth. However, if you prod the gas, the transmission makes sure the kickdown, if required, is prompt. All in all, this powertrain configuration proved to be more than acceptable. The thing that surprised me about the Voyager was the quality of its ride. As well as being comfortable and far from truck-like, the van displayed very little susceptibility to side winds. During the test, we were treated to some heavy gusts that reached as high as 60 kilometers an hour. Even under these severe conditions, the van tracked a straight, predictable line. From the driver's seat, you are treated to a panoramic view of the road ahead, and despite the large dimensions, there are virtually no blind spots.
Probably the most commonly asked question when it comes to minivans is, do they meet passenger car safety regulations? The answer in a nutshell is no, because they're considered to be a truck, they don't have to. Now, Transport Canada have reviewed these and consider them safe enough to pass the passenger car legislation as they stand. Should you worry about the safety implications? In my view, no.
With the concern expressed over safety, Chrysler have in the 1991 Voyager taken several steps towards meeting passenger car safety regulations. They have incorporated daytime running lights and a third high-mounted stop lamp. Inside, the first and second row of pews get headrests, and all outboard passengers are treated to 3-point seat belts. There is also a child-proof door lock on the sliding side door. The only thing that irked me was the fact that whenever the vehicle exceeded 30 kilometers an hour, all doors locked automatically. Now, Chrysler may perceive this as desirable, but believe me, it's a real pain. The restyled dash features a complete set of analog instruments, all of which are easily viewed through the upper portion of the steering wheel. The remainder of the primary driver controls are conveniently housed in two pods on either side of the dash, or on a single stalk to the left of the steering wheel. The secondary controls are not so well situated. The radio, which being Chrysler's Infinity series, offers superb sound quality, and the heater controls are located at the extremity of the driver's reach, which means quite a bit of a stretch. The power windows and mirror controls, on the other hand, are located too close to the driver, making them very awkward to use. A roof-mounted center console houses a pretty useless trip computer and the switches for the power rear vent windows. Now, these are a definite asset because if you open either of them, they really enhance the flow of air throughout the vehicle without increasing the amount of wind noise to any great extent. This is particularly appreciated by the passengers relegated to the rear bench seat.
My pet peeve on this minivan is to do with the parking brake. When you get in, you invariably catch your pant leg on the end of it, and secondly, if you use the wheel arch as a leg support, it digs into the middle of your shin. Now, unfortunately, because of the vehicle design, it can't be located anywhere else, so it's something you're going to have to live with. That said, let's go to the scoreboard for the verdict on the 1991 Plymouth Voyager.
As well as being comfortable, the Voyager displayed very little susceptibility to crosswinds, something that has been the bane of vehicles with a large side profile. It also feels remarkably car-like, an attribute the competition definitely lack. The Voyager features a regular front disc rear drum brake system. The stops are controlled, straight and fade-free. A worthwhile option you might be interested in is the four-wheel ABS system. Chrysler's 3.3-litre V6 provides ample power, managing to propel the Voyager to 100 kilometers an hour in just over 12 seconds. Even fully loaded, the performance is more than respectable. During the test, we recorded 72 decibels of interior noise. Given the open-plan design, this would rate as a very quiet ride. With an average fuel consumption of 12.9 litres per 100 kilometres, the Voyager is fairly thirsty. However, given the performance and versatility, I for one can live with this figure. There is no doubt in my mind whatsoever. Quite simply, the restyled Voyager is the minivan by which all others must be judged.
If you're looking for a few accessories to make your Mercedes stand out in a crowd, how about these? And if they look gold, you are right. All these accessories are gold plated, including this hood ornament. It's got a price of about $200 and would look great on your car. Mind you, it might not be there the next morning, but then you could always get yourself a nice sophisticated alarm system. Well, that's another story. And speaking of other stories, we're now going to join our Bill Gardner in the shop. And this week he is going to continue his series on getting the best performance out of your automobile during those cold winter months.
The other morning I got up early and I went for a walk. I must have passed half a dozen cars just sitting in somebody's driveway, racing away on the fast idle with nobody in sight. Now that's an awful waste of fuel, and you wouldn't think that that would go on with the price of fuel these days. But there are times when you do have to warm a car up in order to remove freezing rain that's accumulated on your glass and to prevent your own breath from fogging up the window in front of you. So sometimes it is necessary to warm a car up. There has to be a sort of a middle ground there. We've got journalists that tell us, no, you don't have to warm up today's cars at all. Well, obviously there are certain weather conditions where you do need a little bit of heat on those windows. And this week we want to talk about some winter starting aids that'll help you get that car going in sub-zero temperatures in the first place and help you warm up that interior without having to run the engine and waste fuel. We've got three of the most popular winter starting aids assembled here today. The engine block heater. Now this is a little element that's very similar to the element in your electric kettle. And we've got a cutaway of an engine block here. You can see the outside of the block heater on the external part of the block. And inside the cooling jackets, the water jackets of the engine, you can see the element itself. It's immersed in the engine coolant and it warms up that engine coolant. Now these block heaters are designed to give you a 40°C temperature rise. They're usually 400 watt designed for 4 and 6 cylinder engines and 600 watt for V8s. We've got two interior car warmers here. This particular one is designed to be mounted vertically. You would install this on the right side of your car, just adjacent to the right of the passenger's feet on that panel. And it won't make your car toasty warm in the morning, but it will take the bite out of that cold and it'll help to defrost all your windows very quickly. The car will be quite comfortable when you get in the morning. Now this battery warmer is just a little blanket that you'd use to wrap around your battery. You'd probably have to remove the battery from the car. And it just installs something like this, wraps around the entire battery, and there's a couple of quick ties included with the kit that secure it to the battery, and then you'd reinstall the battery in the car. Now, this will help your car start because your battery will be much warmer and will have its full power. And it also helps a battery to accept a charge. It's the nature of car batteries, lead-acid batteries, that they don't take a charge willingly in low temperature. So if you've had a whole week of sub-zero temperature, you may have slowly cycled the charge of your battery down. By installing one of these warmers, your battery will accept a charge even on a short trip. Now all three of the accessories we've showed you here today require 110 or household current to operate. But what about that time when you're at the ski hill or somewhere where you can't access that household current? Well, obviously you're going to have to start your car and warm it up a little bit to defrost or defog those windows. But don't waste that time. That's valuable time. And don't go away and leave the car running. If it's carbureted, you may want to kick it down so that it's not running too fast after a couple of minutes. Use that time to clean your headlights, clean the windshield, do a quick visual inspection of your car, check all the tires, etc. Don't just go away and leave that car because a couple of minutes will quickly turn to 10 minutes. You're wasting fuel and harming the environment. Till next week, I'm Bill Gardner for Motoring 91.
I would say probably closer to the 80% mark. A lot of people don't end up just in jobs afterwards, but they end up in training or apprenticeships and things like that. And for us, we consider that a positive outcome.
If you have any comments or suggestions, drop us a line at Motoring 91, Post Office Box 284, Station J, Toronto, Ontario, M4J 4Y1.
Well, each week we manage to cover a lot of different stories on motoring, and every now and then one particular feature will spark a lot of reaction from you, the viewer. Well, that's the case with our next story. It wasn't long ago when we visited an auto body shop that specializes not only in cars, but people too.
At first glance, Call Auto Collision looks like every other body shop. But a closer look inside and you'll find a car repair center that doubles as a classroom. Their slogan is "Learn a job." And here, men and women out of work or just plain out of luck learn the skills that could get them employment. These students are halfway through their 26-week auto collision or welding program. They're mostly visible minorities with little or no work experience, still major stumbling blocks when it comes to employment in this country. But today, these trainees are hoping this course will change their lives, as instructor Joe Churko lends a hand.
What CALL is a training. It's a training facility, basically. What CALL stands for is the Center for Advancement of Work and Living. We have a residence that some of the trainees stay in if they don't have a place to stay. They all have counselors. If they have a problem or something like that, then they can talk to their counselors or the instructors, like myself, for example.
These students here are known as being severely employment disadvantaged. What does that mean?
Well, they have either a physical handicap, a mental handicap. They don't want to show up for work. You know, there's a problem at home. You know, there's a problem there someplace.
How do you straighten them out then?
Very carefully. Everything here is hands-on training, and we also have a classroom that they learn math, English, the basic essentials to be able to get by in a body shop.
Merle, what about you? Like when you leave the CALL program, what do you see yourself doing?
Well, I've been looking at some community college courses in the same program of welding.
Today, the classroom lesson is about resumes and how students like Merrill Roberts can market his newfound skill. Is there a job market out there for you welders?
There's a very large job market. Normally, we will get them out perhaps on a job assessment, 1 week, 2 weeks. That way they can come back with things that they want to brush up on and perhaps a small chat with the employer saying he's weak or strong in these areas as well.
Joe, do you find that some of the clients that come to the CALL collision shop are surprised that this is doubling as a school as well?
Oh yes, exactly. They're really amazed that the quality and the workmanship that comes out here is so high. They expect it to be a hack shop type thing, but it isn't at all. Everything is quality and supervised 100%.
My confidence has gone up dramatically. Yeah, I can do the work with no problem. Well, I'm hired here, so I plan to stay here if they want me here.
So what does it feel like knowing that you've got a full-time job waiting for you?
It feels wonderful.
Carmen, did anybody call yet from her in Pontiac Buick? No. With regards to Alan? No, they haven't.
While the students keep busy in the shop, Anne-Marie Power spends her time in the office, contacting clients who could be interested in hiring. And she says that most CALL trainees do get a job.
I would say probably closer to the 80% mark. A lot of people don't end up just in jobs afterwards, but they end up in training or apprenticeships and things like that. And for us, we consider that a positive outcome for our clients.
Is it a gratifying experience for you to be able to place these students?
Definitely is. I think it gives you a sense of usefulness and success on your own part in your own career.
Why eat on the run when you can take it with you? The Coolatron is a completely portable thermoelectric cooler and food warmer. Power comes from your cigarette lighter via a 10-foot cord. The Coolatron is not designed to be a fridge or stove. Your thermo food hamper will work best if snacks are pre-cooled or preheated before packing. Now you too can eat like a king on the road.
Coming up next on Kenzie's Corner, the hottest exclusive home videos from Europe.
Kenzie's Corner with Jim Kenzie.
I travel all over the world testing exotic cars, and last trip I took along a Sony Handycam. I thought I'd show you some of my home movies. My first stop was in Sant'Agata Bolognese, which is the headquarters of Lamborghini. And this is their Diablo. These are the first moving pictures you're going to see of this car, by the way. Fantastic interior, only built for 2 people, and you better not be too tall or you won't fit into it. Just behind your right ear is a 493 horsepower V12 engine, which promises a good time. Here we're booting along a little 2-lane road. We're only doing about 180 kilometers an hour here because, after all, we don't want to scare the local population. But even in the mountains north of Bologna, you draw a crowd with a car that looks as spectacular as this. Okay, so it's a small crowd. The most amazing thing about this car is that as fast and as high performance as it is, it's an easy car to drive. The clutch is light, the brakes are no problem, the steering's a little bit heavy, but it's not an exotic car in the sense that it's like a race car. And unlike my colleague at Car and Driver magazine, I'm bringing the car back in one piece. My opinion of the Lamborghini Diablo? Well, this is television, so let's let the pictures tell the story. I give this car the thumbs up. Next stop was the south of France. Now, you may never have seen $2 million worth of Porsche 911 Turbo before, and neither had the local car thieves. The first night Porsche was there, they stole 6 of these cars. I managed to find a bright green one, though, and we went for a little drive in the area around Saint-Paul-de-Vence. That 300 kilometer an hour mark on the speedometer, by the way, is no lie. This is a new interior color for Porsche, a light gray leather, which really looks spectacular. Speaking of spectacular, check out this scenery. Now, when you have 320 horsepower turbocharged in a rear-engine car, you want to be fairly careful on these hairpins. You don't want to stuff one of the cars like the President of North America, Porsche division, did. When you come upon one of these little death trap trucks that they have over there, drop down a gear and take off. If this looks like fun, you're right. Later on that afternoon, we came across another Porsche 911 Turbo on the autoroute. We're only doing about 262 kilometers an hour at this stage. Now, there's only going to be 30 of these cars brought into Canada, and 20 have already been sold, so if you want one, better get your money down now. Now, I've also got some video here of my kids and I at Disneyland last year, but oh, I'm sorry, we're out of time. I'm Jim Kenzie.
Well, when you take a $110,000 car and customize it to the tune of $40,000 or $50,000 like this one, you want to keep it secure, right? Well, I wonder if these have alarm systems on it. Let's check out this Mercedes-Benz 560 SEL. It's got an alarm, and so it should. Well, that is it for this week. Now, make sure you join us next week, because next week we have a special edition as Motoring 91 picks its Car of the Year. You won't want to miss it. That's next week on Motoring 91. Make sure you join us. I wonder if it really works. Let's check it out. Oh, it works. I blew it.
Motoring 91 is brought to you by Quaker State. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.